front wheel bearings. Unfortunately, one of the seals is unobtainable this year still, so we're gonna have to do the best we can. It's not gonna hit the road anytime soon by the looks of it. Most spare parts have been superseded or are not manufactured anymore, and when I say superseded, they are now owned by KTM. And KTM is a bit reluctant to get those, but there are several sites where you can still find Husqvarna parts for even the 2001 models, the TE125s for example. So, not bad. Today, we're going to put the bearings in, minus the missing oil seal, and then we're going to take the rear wheel off and do those bearings as well. I mean, while we're at it, right? Might as well replace all of them. Bearing wise, I don't know what they were before. What does this say? LIC Japan. No, that's licensed Japan, you idiot. There we go. FPJ or whatever they're called. Got another one. Same country, NTN. Don't know. First thing, whenever you get new bearings, get the old one, size it up lengthwise, and size everyone up. Human error still happens that the wrong bearing could be in the packet, okay? We're going to use an old bearing as the driver. One of the oil seals. This is the crap one. And this is its new one. Looks like it's been on the shelf somewhere, so we're just going to clean it with a bit of brake cleaner. Speaking of, this new circlip, still the original, it looked fine, but why take a chance? The middle piece, brake cleaner, marine grease, circlips, and a big enough hammer. So, let's begin. First things first, clean everything with brake cleaner, make sure everything's nice and tidy. Make sure no debris in here. Then give it a light coating of grease. Don't go too much, you don't want to hydro lock it. Just a little bit. And then place the bearing. In order to drive this, you can either do fish finger fillet, or the easiest, or at least for my mind, the circle method. There we go. And I don't need to remind you, don't use a lot of force, you know, you're not trying to kill it. You're trying to persuade it into position, you know? Like trying to get the homeowner to open his safe by pointing the gun lightly at his head, you know? Just the nuzzle. And now the rear wheel. Yeah. Not so good anymore. Notice this one doesn't even have that little spring, retaining spring in it. I mean, look at the new one. Okay, I'm guessing because the spacers actually have a lip which grip it. So I'm guessing it moved and it ripped it out. Yeah, happens. See this one? This one's broken. This was the other seal. Yeah, looks like, yeah, we got corrosion here. So we're gonna have to polish the inner tube as well. Easy done. Mazel tov. It's a big one. Eek. Okay, plenty of cleaning to do. A little bit of rust. Yeah. Odd. On this side it has two bearings, and the other side one big one. Odd design. Yeah, let's get to it. There we go, bit polish outside to get rid of the rough galvanizing. Inside, still not 100%, so I'm going to keep using sandpaper. Why is it important to get all the rust out of here? Because this is where the axle goes through. And the axle is supposed to go through smoothly. And rust will prohibit that. Not only that, this thing can grip the axle and start spinning along with the wheel bearings. And I don't know how good that foam is in terms of heat resistance, but it's not the best. Alright, forcing two bearings out of that was a lot more difficult than expected. Little trick for the lazy man. Get a socket, get an extension. If you have the space, position it perfectly here and start wailing on it. You don't need to even do this whole crap. Push on that. put a bit of WD-40 in between so it helps the slide, and you're golden, baby. We'll go with the fat side first. I'm using FAG bearing. FAG? Call a fag, okay? Same story as before, lightly grease, and let's push it in. We'll use the socket attachment to ram it all the way in there. Yeehaw! There we go. First side, beautiful. Also, don't be afraid to use a little bit of heat. Make it nice and hot. Bearing will slide in. If you can't get it in the normal way, apply heat, put the bearings in the freezer, but make sure you wrap them in plastic first to prevent any moisture ingress. Okay? Okay, I'll chuck this up to Italian engineering. The cylinder inside that sits on the inside race of the other one on the other side, the other bearing. So you put the first one in, you knock that down. If you knock it flush, the cylinder actually presses this thing slightly up and it won't move the bearing. So you got to take the socket, hit that from the other side loose again, so the bearings turn. Same with the second bearing. You push that in, when it's flat and makes the sound that it's seated, it doesn't turn. You got to go from the other side, smack it once, give a little bit of movement for this middle cylinder, and then the bearings can turn. I mean, couldn't the cylinder... never mind. I'm learning here as well, gentlemen. Right. Seal, rubber grease, axle, we're good.